What's good everyone, Shirt here. So today I'm bringing you guys a true Draco deck profile.
Oh my god!
What's good everyone, Shirt here. So today I'm bringing you guys a true Draco deck profile, a pure true Draco deck profile, not mixing anything in it. We're playing pure Cancer right now. We don't want Cancer, we don't want to mix Cancer with Toxic, we don't want to do anything, we want to play pure Cancer. So let's get straight into the deck profile because we know how much people love true Draco. So first up, everybody's favourite card. This card has not been hated for nearly a year now. 3 copies of Masterpiece, the true Draco Slaying King. Masterpiece is obviously an amazing card, being able to normal summon it so easily. It's basically Towers 2.0 but better than Towers. This is why I'm saying Towers should be unbanned, because if we got free Masterpiece, give us Towers. But yeah, Masterpiece being immune to either spells and monsters or traps and monsters, it's just really cool. Even now, a lot of people don't expect Masterpiece compared to back when Zoo were full power, when True Draco at full power. So you can sneak a lot of wins easily with Masterpiece and with the True Draco deck, because a lot of people aren't really going to expect you to play it. Well, the only way they can probably figure out that you're playing it is if they realise that you don't put an extra deck down. But then again, you can trick them by putting your side deck into your extra deck zone, which I do quite a bit sometimes. But yeah. Well, unless you're playing online, of course. But yeah, Masterpiece, amazing card. Really do love him. You have to play the full 3 copies, I think, because you don't play too many monsters in the deck, and it's better to draw him than search him, because sometimes you want to use your searches on your Heritage and your Disciples and your Return and your Apocalypse. So 3 copies of Masterpiece. Next up, we play 3 copies of Majesty Maiden, the True Draco Caster. Now, Majesty Maiden's another good card, obviously, because we've got Dynamite Knight banned and Ignis Heat limited. Maiden is like the only other good True Draco card, being able to search out Masterpiece or Ignis. Obviously, you just really do need enough True Dracos. You need about 7 of them in the main deck to be able to function properly, and that's why I played the free Maiden. I really do like Maiden as a card as well, being able to search the monsters. Back when True Draco were at full power, you didn't really want to play this because Dynamite Knight, obviously getting the traps in your opponent's turn was much better. But still, what you can do is you can normal summon Maiden, set a trap card face down in your opponent's turn, activate that trap card, use Maiden's effect to get Masterpiece, and then drop Masterpiece during your opponent's turn. By doing so, you'll be able to destroy one of your opponent's card, because when the traps are sent to the graveyard, you can destroy one of your opponent's monsters. So I think that is really cool. And then next up, we play 1 copy of Ignis Heat. Now, Ignis Heat is another really good card. It is limited, unfortunately. That ban list was so good that hit Zodiac and everything, but I really didn't like the True Draco hits, because True Draco was like the one meta deck I actually liked, because I really like just dropping Masterpiece and people are like, oh, we can't do anything. Plus, another good thing right now is that people don't play Kaijus as much, so Masterpiece is safe. But yeah, Ignis Heat, just being able to search the spells, is better than Maiden, but obviously that's why it's limited, because you want to get into your Heritage, into your Disciples. It's not as good as Dynamite Knight was, because you could use the trap effects on your opponent's turn. You of course can't use the spell effects on your opponent's turn. So that's it for the monsters. Just 7 monsters in the main deck, because obviously True Draco is all about just getting that Masterpiece down, getting as many resources as possible. That's why you want to play more spells to draw and search. So talking about searching, we're playing 3 copies of Dragonic Diagram. I'm just so happy this card is still at free, because I think it's definitely one of the best field spells of all time, if not the best field spell of all time. Being able to destroy one of your cards, which makes one of your opponent's cards be destroyed, because if the spells are destroyed, then a spell card on your opponent's side of the field is destroyed. If a trap card is destroyed, then a monster on your opponent's field is destroyed. And then being able to search as well, it's such a plus, because you go neg by destroying a card, but then you neg your opponent one. So in reality, you're kind of giving up a card for a card. It's kind of like an MST as well. And then you get to search, so you're actually going in a way +1, because you get to destroy your card, destroy your opponent's card, and then get a search. So I really do love Dragonic Diagram. The extra protection it gives to Masterpiece and your Dracos, and the extra attack points is just a bonus, seriously. The searching effect is enough, never mind the other effects. And then next up, to search out the Dragonic Diagram, of course, we play 3 copies of Terraforming. I'm seriously surprised this card is still at free, especially with Spirals utilising it for their resort. Let's just hope it doesn't get hit on this list. I'm really hoping it doesn't get hit on the list that hopefully will come soon, unless, as I've said before, Konami delay it by 6 months as usual. But yeah, 3 copies of Terraforming, just getting into that Dragonic Diagram. Another card that can fin through your deck and let you speed through your deck to be able to do your plays. And then next up, one of my favourite cards in the True Draco deck, if not my favourite, 3 copies of True Draco Heritage. Heritage is the better spell, obviously, being able to draw like potentially free cards if you tributed a maiden, if you've sent disciples to the graveyard, or heritage itself to the graveyard, and a trap card just going that +3, drawing 3 extra cards. It could potentially be better than Card of Demise, which I think is amazing. And then obviously giving you that extra normal summon is another really good effect. And then next up we play 3 copies of Disciples. This isn't as good as Heritage, but of course you still want to play the 3 copies so you have enough 2 Draco cards in your deck to be able to tribute and to be able to shuffle back with Disciples itself. Disciples just shuffling back 3 cards, drawing another card. Because this card plays so many cards that fins through your deck, you of course want to be able to get resources back into your deck, like get your Ignis Heat because it's limited back into your deck, and that's what's really good. Disciples is kind of your recovery card, plus it of course gives you that extra normal summon, which is of course really important because you can potentially have 3 normal summons in this deck, because you obviously have your normal summon, and then you have your extra normal summon from Heritage and your extra normal summon from Disciples, so you could potentially get a Masterpiece and another Draco onto the field. So I think that is really cool. Next up, of course, for draw power, we play 3 copies of Card of Demise. It's annoying that you can't damage your opponent during the turn you activate it, but it is really amazing going first. Even going second is really good because you can manage to drop Masterpiece. Masterpiece can kind of destroy your opponent's cards, your spells can destroy your opponent's cards. So 3 copies of Card of Demise. The fact that you can't special summon doesn't matter, because the only card that special summons in this deck is Return, and Return is limited, plus it's a trap card, so Return can activate on your opponent's turn, so that is really no big deal. The only real limitation to it in this deck is the whole damage thing, but it's just so good being able to draw 3 cards, go +2, it's absolutely amazing. And then next up we play 3 copies of Pot of Duality. Now Duality is another good card, being able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, seeing which card you need and just grabbing it to your hand. It of course sorts out kind of bad hands, because a lot of the time in True Draco what will happen is you'll have enough, you won't have enough pieces together. You'll have most of the essential pieces, but you need maybe a Draco or maybe a spell to kind of do the combo properly, so Duality really does help that. Obviously the special summon clause is no big deal, because as I said before, you don't really special summon. And then next up we only play 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I didn't want to play the 3 because we've already got the 3 Demise and the Duality, and obviously if you draw 2 Desires it isn't very good, because you don't really want to activate both in the True Draco deck, because banishing 20 cards isn't the best, because you probably will banish all your monsters by then, and of course there's no way for you to win then. So I think 2 copies is enough, definitely not 3, and I definitely wouldn't cut it because it's another really powerful card, but you only really want to activate 1 per duel. If you're activating the second one, then you're getting a bit desperate, because we of course do already have a lot of draw power with Duality, Demise and with Heritage. And then next up, for the one-offs, we play 1 copy of Domain of the True Monarchs. I just love it. Domain is kind of like a seal the deal kind of card, where you've dropped Masterpiece, you've got the traps face down, and then you've got Domain up, so they can't even special summon from the extra deck. It's just like complete lockdown. So of course, because we're playing Domain, like I said before, we haven't really got an extra deck. We don't need the extra deck, because the only thing you could summon from the extra deck was I think it is actually rank 5 monsters, because both Ignis and the Maiden are rank 5, level 5s. So I don't think that's really I don't think you really lose too much. You lose the potential to go into rank 5s, and I guess if you want to overlay 2 masterpieces, then you could go into a rank 8, but that would never happen. So being able to lose the extra deck but have that ability to activate Domain is just really good. The only other time that you won't put Domain in the deck for True Draco is if you want to play Brilliant Fusion. I think Brilliant Fusion is another good card that could go in True Draco, but it is risky because of all the draw power that True Draco do have. So you could easily draw into the Garnet or draw into too many cards and then not be able to play properly. But if you guys want to play Brilliant Fusion, I totally understand, because with Brilliant Fusion it gives you another extra normal summon, plus it puts a continuous spell and a monster on the board to be able to tribute to summon your Masterpiece, so that is overall really good. And then next up, for another one off, we play 1 copy of the Monarch Stormforth. I think this is really good because what you can do with the traps is you can set this with a trap, you can activate Stormforth, and then the trap will allow you to tribute Masterpiece on your opponent's turn by tributing your opponent's monster, so you can't get more disruptive than that. So Stormforth, obviously it's limited. I don't think Stormforth should come back to free for Monarchs, but I definitely think Pantheism is the other Monarch card that should come back to free. Anyways, before I go off on a random tangent about the ban list, let's get into the next card, which is Regeki. Obviously Regeki is self-explanatory, just being able to blow up your opponent's board. Easy. easy board wipe. It's just you don't need to explain it. It's just overall a really good card that you really want to put in every deck. If you don't want to play Regeki, just swap it out with Upstart or something for extra consistency. But because True Draco doesn't give too much damage, Masterpiece is your main beater. I don't recommend giving your opponent that extra 1000 life points. Plus I prefer to play the Regeki over the Upstart. So that's it for the spells. I think that is about 23 spells. I think, yep, that's 23 spells. And then next up for the trap cards, we play 10 trap cards, so that's a total of 40 card deck, exactly a 40 card deck. So 3 copies of True Draco Apocalypse is the first one. Apocalypse is another really good card. I prefer Return over Apocalypse, but of course Return is limited. That is really bad. But Apocalypse, just popping one of your other cards, being able to half your opponent's monster's attack points, it is a really nice card. Obviously if your opponent puts up a monster that's stronger than Masterpiece, that is an issue, because if he gets destroyed by battle, of course, the only really protection you have for Masterpiece from being destroyed by battle is Dragonic Diagram. So obviously with True Draco Apocalypse, what you want to do is you want to pop one of your spell cards, then your opponent's monster attack points would be half, then the spell card would of course destroy one of their spell cards. So it's overall a really good disruption card, halving attack points and potentially being able to blow up one of your opponent's cards. And then next up for the one-off, we have 1 copy of Return, because of course it's limited. I think this card is really good, being able to bring back your Dracos and then use them Dracos as tribute fodder to summon the other Dracos. And obviously if Dracos are brought back from the graveyard, they don't have their effects. They only gain their effects if they're tribute summoned. So what you want to do is of course summon one from the graveyard, tribute it, summon another Draco. So it's a good recovery card. It helps with along with Disciples, and that is why it's limited, because of the recovery it offers, and because it makes sure that you don't really lose, because you can bring back Masterpiece, and Masterpiece is a 2950 wall, so it really does help you, and I think that justifies its limitation actually. And then next up we play 1 copy of Imperial Order. Imperial Order is really good. It can maybe backfire on you if your opponent manages to destroy your Dracos, and then all you have is spells to be able to recover. And obviously losing the life points is bad, but just being able to zone out your opponent, being able to have a Masterpiece on the board with an Imperial Order, that and then Masterpiece being immune to maybe traps and monsters, that basically makes Masterpiece immune to everything, because your opponent can't even activate the spells to be able to stop Masterpiece. So overall, Imperial Order, another amazing card, continuous as well, so you can tribute it off for the Dracos. So it's not really a kind of you activate this, you lose within a couple turns, because you can of course get rid of it easily without having to neg, because you tribute 1 to summon your Draco. And then same concept with the next card, which is Skill Drain, because if a Masterpiece is immune to trap cards and then you flip up Skill Drain, Masterpiece won't be affected by Skill Drain. Obviously if you have Skill Drain up before you summon Masterpiece, then that's a problem, but a lot of the time you're going to summon Masterpiece, set this, and then in your opponent's turn flip over Skill Drain. 1000 life points lost, yeah, it's not the best, having to pay the life points, but it doesn't really matter. Overall, obviously having Skill Drain and Imperial Order face up, that negates spell and monster effects, you basically won then if you've got a Masterpiece face up. So overall, really good card, Skill Drain. And then to round it all off, we have 3 copies of Solemn Strike for going first. I wanted another power card to be able to negate stuff, to kind of like make sure my opponent can't do anything. That's really what the cancer is. We wanted to increase the cancer from 10 to 11 by playing the Solemn Strike. So yeah, 3 copies of Solemn Strike. If you don't want to play Solemn Strike and you think that I don't want to draw this when I'm going second, I recommend you either play Hand Traps, which obviously isn't the best because of Card of Demise, but if you don't want to play Hand Traps, then a back row removal, because the only really back row removal you have is the continuous spells. Of course, if you destroy them, you can destroy back row and then Masterpiece itself, but if you want to be extra careful and play back row like Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twisters, then please swap out the strikes for that. And then to round it all off, we have 1 copy of Solemn Warning, once again making sure the cancer gets turned up from 11 to 12 this time, because we don't just play the 3 Solemn Strikes. If you're playing the 3 Solemn Strikes, you have to play the Warning as well. Now just imagine a board with Domain face up, Masterpiece, Imperial Order, Skill Drain and Strike set. Actually, don't imagine that. You actually might suffer from a brain tumour, so I don't really want to be accountable for whatever cancer you guys suffer from. So that's it for the True Draco deck profile. That's it for the cancer deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys aren't suffering from any mental illness after seeing this deck profile. This has been Shurit. Peace.